Good day everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the Chinese mythology. Chinese mythology is a collection of cultural history, folk tales, and religious traditions that has been passed down for centuries in oral or written form. There are several aspects to Chinese mythology, including creation myths and legends, and myths concerning the founding of Chinese culture and the Chinese states. Chinese mythology generally concerns moral issues and informs people about their culture and values. Like many mythologies, some people believe it to be at least in part of factual history. In the beginning, there was nothing but a formless chaos. Out of this chaos, there was an egg, which remained for 18,000 years. When the forces of yin and yang balanced, Pangu emerged from the egg and set about the task of creating the world. With a swing of his great axe, he separated yin and yang. The heavy yin sank to become the earth, while the light yang rose to become the heavens. Pangu stood between them and pushed up the sky. At the end of 18,000 years, Pangu laid to rest. His breath became the wind, his voice the thunder, left eye the sun, and right eye the moon. His body became the mountains and extremes of the world. His blood formed rivers, his muscles the fertile lands, his facial hair the stars and Milky Way, his fur the bushes and forest, his bones the valuable minerals, his bone marrows sacred diamonds, his sweat fell as rain, and the little creatures on his body, carried by the wind, became human well-being of the world. Since the world has been created, here comes Nuwa, the goddess of all humankind. Nuwa, also Nugwa, is the mother goddess and creator of all humankind. She is the goddess of nature, fertility, order, and marriage. In Chinese mythology, Nuwa is depicted as part human and part reptile, with the body of a serpent and the head of a human woman. Her amalgamation with a serpent is significant because snakes were connected with fertility. She is formally called Hua Huang in Mandarin, which means Lady Hua or Empress Hua. So here's the question, why did Nuwa created humankind? It's because there was the time that Nuwa was alone, she was lonely, and then she picked some yellow mud or yellow clay and then formed it into her likeness. And there's the magic happen that the clay that she formed into her likeness came alive, and that is us, the human being. So when the human being has been created and has been reproduced, the Jade Emperor or the Lord of Heaven sent 3 emperors to rule them. So who is Jade Emperor? Jade Emperor or the Lord of Heaven is one of the primordial god. The Jade Emperor Yu Wang or Yudi was considered to be the ruler of heaven. He was thought to be like a human emperor in that he ruled over a heavenly court populated by all the important gods of China. His duty includes the management of celestial beings, recording the deeds of humans, and deciding their afterlife. So let's go back to the 3 emperors who ruled humanities. So the first one we have here, Tianguan. Tianguan or the ruler of heaven. He would bring happiness, freedom, and richness. The second one is the Guan, ruler of earth, who would judge over the people and their actions. And the third one, Shi Guan, emperor of water, who would control the rivers and overcome diseases. Now that the Jade Emperor has sent 3 rulers of humankind, he also sent the rules of food. So the Jade Emperor called the Dung Beetle to tell the human to eat once every 3 days, but when the dung beetle traveled back to Earth, he had confused the message. Instead, he told the humans to eat 3 times a day. Since the dung beetle has not delivered the message clearly, he has been punished, and then as today we can see that the Chinese people are eating dung beetle because the dung beetle became also a food, because that's the punishment of the Jade Emperor given to him.
Now let's proceed to the 3 August ones and the 5 Emperors. So these characters were all part of the early Chinese mythology. The 3 August ones antedated the 5 Emperors, meaning to say, mas nauna sila compared sa 5 Emperors, and they were more divine. The 3 August ones, or the three sovereigns, were namely Fuxi, Nuwa, and Shannon. Fuxi as the heavenly sovereign, Nuwa as the earthly sovereign, and Shenong as the human sovereign. Si Fuxi and then si Nuwa, they were conjoined twins, pero sila na rin yung naging magkasawa. And sinasabi rin na sila yung last survivors ng the Great Flood. And out of boredness, gumawa sila ng clay, and later on, binuhay nila ito. And yun yung sinasabi o pinaniniwalaan nila na pinagmulan ng human race. Si Shannon naman yung tinatawag na divine farmer, kasi siyang nagturo sa mga tao kung paano magtanim, kung paano gumawa ng irrigation, and kung paano mag-tame ng mga hayop na ginagamit sa pagsasaka katulad ng mga kabayo and ox. Siya din ang gumawa ng catalog of 365 species of medicinal plant na later on ay ginawang basis sa full biological study. According to tales, after 3 years na ipanganak si Shannon is nakakapag-lakad na siya. Then after 3 years naman is nakakapagtanim na siya. Now let's proceed to the 5 Emperors, namely Wang Di, Yuan Shu, Hu, Yao, and Shun. These emperors were bloodly related except Kai Shun. The first emperor is Wang Di. Wang Di means raging or yellow, kaya siya tinawag na Yellow Emperor. And he was also called the Paragon of Wisdom kasi sobrang talino kanta niya. Sa kanya nagmula yung paggamit ng bow and arrow and the traditional medicine. Siya din yung nagpasimula ng government institution and yung paggamit ng coin as money. And then doon nagsimula yung Chinese civilization, yung pag-unlad ng Chinese civilization ng sinuunang panahon. And then, sa sobrang talino niya, pininiwalaan na after his death is naging immortal na yung kanyang pagkatao. Si Wan Shi naman ang apo ni Wang Di. He created the first calendar and the first piece of music. Si Emperor Hu naman ang pamangkin ni Wan Shi, and he is also the great-grandson of Wang Di. So, siya naman yung nag-invent ng first musical instrument. Si Yao naman ang fourth emperor, and he is the eldest son of Emperor Hu. Siya naman yung tinatawag na paragon of moral protection. There is this tale na nagsasabing na naginip si Emperor Yao ng isang kingdom kung saan ang mga tao ay may sinusunod na natural law, and yung mga tao din is sobrang bait, kaya yung kingdom nila is sobrang payapa. So, nung pumising siya, dun sa panaginip niya na yun, in-apply niya kung anong napanaginipan niya sa kanyang nasasakupan mismo. And doon siya nagsimulang maniwala sa morality of human. And ang pinaka-last na emperor naman is Emperor Shun or Shan. Siya naman, hindi siya connected sa apat na emperor, pero siya yung kataan ni Emperor Yao ng potensyal na magtatakbo or mamuno na mayroong morality. Next naman is one of the important event in Chinese mythology, which is the Great Flood. There are many sources na nagsasabing ang cause ng Great Flood ay ang wickedness ng human. So, kumbaga, ito ay parusa sa kasalanan ng mga tao. So parang katulad lang din to ng flood na pinadala during the time of Noah. Kaya nakaligtas si Noah ng barako na tinawag ni Noah's Ark. So parang ganun lang din to. Although ito namang Great Flood sa Chinese mythology, start naman po sa Yellow River during the reign of Emperor Yao. Itong si Emperor Yao, inutusan si Prince Gan na lipasan itong problemang ito. Pero not-fail si Emperor Yu na mawala ang Great Flood. So, as a punishment, pinatay siya. And ang anak niya na si Emperor Yu ang pumilit sa kanyang posisyon to face his father's failure. And ang ginawa naman ni Emperor Yu, imbis na harapin yung Great Flood, ang ginawa niya, gumawa siya ng canals and water drainage simula sa Yellow River papunta sa mga oceans. And naging successful itong project niya na to after 13 years. And as a reward, he gained the mandate of heaven and so began the Shi Dynasty. Dito naman sa Shi Dynasty, nagpatuloy ang pagbibuild ng mga canals and irrigation and na-i-apply din ito sa pagtutuni. So in short, naging successful ang agriculture sa Shi Dynasty. Yun nga lang, nagkaroon ng confusion sa trono kung sino ba ang magmamana ng trono kay Yu. Kasi itong si Emperor Yu, itinalaga niya ang kanyang deputy na si Gao Tao na magmana ng kanyang trono. Kasi nga lang, naunang mamatay si Gao Tao kaysa kay Emperor Yu. So, yung anak niya na si Bolhi, sunod na itinalagang magmamana ng trono ni Yu. Yun nga lang, yung mga tao is mas boto kay Qi na anak ni Emperor Yu, and inilakad talaga nila ito kay Yu na gusto nilang ang magmana na lang ay yung kanyang anak na si Qi. So, after mamatay ni Yu, is tuloy na ito naman ito sa kanyang anak. And the Shi Dynasty was the first historically confirmed dynasty. Kasi although part siya ng Chinese mythology lang siya at ang isip, pero may mga scientists na nakapag-discover ng dynasty na ito.
Shang dynasty of ancient China had a rich mythology and belief system that encompassed various gods, spirits, and rituals. The last king of Xia dynasty, is said to have been a bloodthirsty despot. Zhou of Shang was overthrown by the new Zhuo dynasty. The end of the Shang dynasty and the establishment of Zhuo is the subject of the influential mythological fiction. Important mythologies and deities. First one, we have the Taoist cosmology, and it consists of the three pure ones. So Yuan Shi Chansun, also known as the Lord of the Heaven. He is considered the highest deity in the Taoist pantheon and is associated with the concept of the Tao, which represent the ultimate reality and source of all existence. As the highest of the three pure ones, Yuan Shi Chansun represent the origin and unmanifested potential of the universe. He is associated with the qualities of wisdom, compassion, and transcendence, guiding practitioners of their spiritual journey towards enlightenment and harmony with the Tao. A moral God, in Taoist belief, the concept of earth is associated with stability, grounding, nourishment, and fertility. It serves as the foundation for life and growth, providing a solid and nurturing environment for living beings to thrive. Earth is seen as a source of sustenance and support, symbolizing the importance of balance, harmony, and interconnectedness with the natural world. The four emperors, heavenly kings of the Taoist religion. The first one is the Jade Emperor, also known as Yu Wang Shangzi in Chinese mythology and Taoism. He is one of the most important and powerful deities in the celestial hierarchy. He is considered the supreme ruler of heaven and earth, as well as the entire cosmos. The Jade Emperor is often depicted as a wise and benevolent deity who governs the universe and oversees various aspects of human life. In Chinese folklore and Taoist belief, The Jade Emperor holds a prominent position among the divine beings and is revered for his role in maintaining order and justice in the universe. He is associated with virtues such as virtue, compassion, and righteousness. The next one is Lingbao Shenzun, also known as the Luminous Treasure Lord, is another one of the three pure ones in Taoist cosmology. Lingbao Shenzun is considered the ruler of the Lingbao heaven, which is the highest realm in the Taoist heaven. Lingbao Shenzun is associated with the virtue of compassion and is believed to govern the cycle of life and death, as well as the distribution of blessings and rewards to human beings based on their actions and karma. He is often depicted as a regal figure with a benevolent expression, dressed in Taoist robes and holding a sacred object such as a Taoist seal or a peach. Shanwang Dadi is another deity in Chinese folk religion and Taoism who is also known as the Great Emperor of the Heavenly Sovereign. Shanwang Dadi is a revered deity who is believed to possess great power and wisdom. In Chinese spiritual practice, Shanwang Dadi is often associated with justice, righteousness, and divine order. Shanwang Dadi holds a central role in religious belief as deity who upholds righteousness and celestial order. And the last is Houtu, also known as Empress Houtu or Queen Mother of the West in Chinese mythology. Houtu is a prominent figure in Chinese folklore and is often associated with the Taoist concept of the Queen Mother of the West, who is believed to rule over the western direction and represent longevity, fertility, and immortality. Houtu is typically depicted as a benevolent and powerful deity, often portrayed with the attributes of a queen or empress. She is associated with the sacred Mount Kunlun in Chinese mythology, which is considered the residence of immortals and the gateway to the heavens.
With their ability to bestow life and overcome the forces of evil, the eight immortals have captured the imagination and admiration of people throughout China for centuries. Think of them like the original Chinese superheroes. They have been a focal feature of Chinese mythology since the Han Dynasty and have been particularly influential when it comes to the indigenous Chinese religion of Taoism. Although their identities weren't strictly fixed until the Ming Dynasty, each of them carries a special magical item which are regarded as holy articles in Taoism. Zhongli Quan is the official leader of the eight immortals and is commonly depicted with his bare belly showing. He is known to have many powers including transmutation and the knowledge of the elixir of life. He is able to resurrect the dead using a fan which he carried. Cao Guju was the brother of Empress Cao Hu, a 10th century Song empress, as well as an uncle to the emperor of the Song dynasty. He is the most well-dressed of the immortals and is portrayed wearing his official court dress. He is often holding castanets, which illustrate his rank as they enable him access to palace audiences, as well as an imperial jade tablet, which has the ability to purify the earth. Han Zhangzi was the nephew of a famous 9th century scholar, Han Yu. He carries a flute which can cause growth and give life and has the ability and power to soothe wild animals and to instantly cause flowers to bloom. He Shangu is the only female immortal and is often depicted holding the peach of immortality, the divine fruit of gods, or a magical lotus blossom, which is the flower of open-heartedness. She is often shown playing a reed organ or holding a ladle, which represent wisdom, meditation, and purity. Lan Kai-hi is often illustrated as a beggar carrying a basket of flowers, which is associated with longevity. Immortal Lan is portrayed as a young girl or a young boy or as an old man and is often wearing a tattered blue gown with only one shoe. Lu Dongbin is the most famous of the 8 immortals. He is always dressed as a scholar, carrying a sword on his back and a fly brush in his hand. The sword gives the power of invisibility and is also said to be able to read evil spirits. Zhang Gulao was highly talented in alchemy and was known to carry a drum made of bamboo and fish or snake skin, along with 2 rods used to strike it, and had the ability to cure life. He is often traveled incredible distances on a white donkey, which could be folded up into paper and stored in a wallet. When Zhang Gulao wanted to ride it again, he only had to sprinkle water or saliva to reconstitute it back to its normal form. Li Taiguai, the most ancient of the immortals. He is depicted as a lame beggar carrying an iron crutch and a double gourd. The gourd has the ability to ward off evil and is the symbol of longevity, as well as helping those who are needy or distressed. It has a misty cloud coming out from it, which represents immortal Lil's soul. Occasionally, he is shown riding on a kilin or a dog of foe. Deity of Buddhist origin, Guan Yin. She who observes all sounds of suffering in the world, that is the meaning of the name Guan Yin. Swathed in white, standing atop a lotus pedestal, a willow branch in one hand and a vase of pure water in the other. The goddess of compassion and mercy. The goddess Guan Yin began in India as the Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara, originally a male deity. He gradually became indigenized as a female deity in China over the span of nearly a millennium. By the Ming and Qing periods, Guan Yin had become the most popular female deity in China. Maitreya Bodhisattva is an immortal in the Old East myth. He always keeps smiling to everything in the world, contains the people looking forward to a better future, can bring them happiness. Tradition relates him to a Chinese monk called Putai, who because of his benevolent nature came to be regarded as an incarnation of the Bodhisattva, the future Buddha. Maitreya, whose large protruding stomach led to his being caricatured as the Laughing Buddha. Dizang. Dizang is especially committed to delivering the dead from the torments of hell. Dizang is especially popular as the sovereign of the underworld. Often represented as a monk wearing a royal crown, Dizang helps the deceased faithful navigate the complex underworld bureaucracy, avert the punitive terrors of hell, and arrive at the happy realm of rebirth. Yanlu, the god of death and king in the afterlife. He is the greatest of all the lords of death who rule the regions of the underworld. He is also known as Yang Wang Ye, Lord Yama, and Lord Yama King. He is also the judge of the underworld and passes the judgment on all the dead. Yan is portrayed as a large man with a scowling red face, bulging eyes, and a long beard.
Important mythologies and deities. Erlang Shen. As a god of engineering, he is considered to be one of the greatest warrior god of heaven. Erlang Shen is a folk hero god that helped calm catastrophe flooding during ancient times. Beigol, god of thunder. Nesha is a precursor Finnish deity who served as patron saint of young adults after gestating in his mother's womb for 3 years and 6 months. Nesha was born with superhuman strength and ability to speak. Guan Yu, god of brotherhoods, god of martial power, also revered as a god of war in that time. Xiao Gong Ming, god of wealth, rides on tiger. Baigan, also god of wealth. Kui Xing, god of examinations. Sun Wukong, the monkey king from the story Journey to the West. Matsu, goddess of the sea, also known as Queen of Heaven. Zhou Jun, popular gods of the kitchen. Tu Di Gong, the land gods. Xin Wong, Xingwang is a god responsible for the affairs in a city. Zhongqi or Zhongqi, mythical person raptured or subjugating demons. Longmo, also known as Dragon Mother. Hongxing is a deity with high regard in the southern China, also named the god of the South Sea. Kangkung, sea god. Zurong, god of fire, defeat Gonggong. Gonggong, god of water during the fight with the god of fire. He crushed Mount Bugzu, broke the sky, which was then patched by Noah.
So, good afternoon, everyone. And for today, I'm gonna give you the important mythologies and deities. First is Qiyu. Qiyu is the god of war, and he is the inventor of metal weapon. So, second is Dayu. Dayu is the one who regulates the courses of river. He is responsible for controlling floods. And then the third one is Kwafu. Kwafu is the one who chases the sun. And then fourth is Kangji. Kangji is the one who creates the Chinese characters. And then next is Hu Yi. Hu Yi is a great hero who shut down suns. Again, Hu Yi is a great hero who shut down suns. Then, next is Chang'e. Chang'e is goddess of the moon and wife of Hu Yi. So the next is the cowherhead and weaver girl. And then Hanba. Hanba is the ancient god of drought. When we say drought, in Tagalog it's tagtuyot if I'm not mistaken, or waterless, something like that. And then second is Wenchang Wang. And then Gao Yao. Gao Yao is the god of justice and judgment. Yes. And then Bashe. Bashe is a snake reputed to swallow elephant. And then we have different types of deities which is considered as birds. First is the Jingwei bird. The Jingwei bird is a mythical bird which tries to fill up the ocean with twigs and pebbles, symbolizing indefatigable determination. Okay. And then Feng Wang Chinese phoenix. So the third one is Jiyan. Jiyan is a mythical bird supposed to have only one eye and one wing. A pair of such birds dependent on each other, inseparable, hence represents husband and wife. And then second is Shangyang. Shangyang is a bird who is in a type of bird wherein it is a rain bird. And then nine-headed bird used to scare children. And then Su Shuang is a mythical bird, also variously described as a water bird like the crane. So that's all.
Qilin, a chimeric animal with several variations. The first giraffe sent as a gift to a Chinese emperor was believed to be Qilin. An early Chinese painting depicts this giraffe replete with the fish scales of the Qilin. Qilins were part dragon, part horse creature which had precognitive abilities. They could also look into a person's soul and find out if they were pure of heart. Lama is a fabled winged horse with a dragon scale in Chinese mythology. Seeing a Longma was a omen a legendary sage ruler, particularly one of the three sovereigns and 5 emperors. similar to Kilin, the dragon horse. Kui, a mythical one-legged monster. Kui is a felicitous figure in ancient Chinese mythology. Classic texts use this name for legendary musician Kui, who invented music and dancing, for the one-legged mountain demon or rain god Kui. Kun, also known as a Peng, a mythical giant monster fish, also known as Gon in Korean, is a giant fish or whale in Chinese and East Asian mythology. In the Zongzi, Kun described as an mythological creature in Northern Sea whose size immeasurable enormous. Kun transformed into a giant bird, Peng. Jiangxi is a fair white color with pure green hair, mossy or mold growing on their flesh. The Jiangxi also has pale, long white messy hair atop their heads. They are said to have extremely long tongues and black sharp fingernails, and they walk along with their arms outstretched. Butuan is an auspicious creature with the ability to detect the truth and travel over great distance in a very short time. It's said to be fluent in all language of the world. Whenever it encounters a wise and virtuous ruler, it offers books as a gift. Yaguai is a Chinese term that generally means demon. Traditionally, Han people believe that animals and lifeless things may obtain souls and human wisdom if they become old enough. This kind of Yaguai is usually called Jing. Fully Jing are Chinese mythological creatures usually capable of shape-shifting, who may either be benevolent or malevolent spirits. In Chinese mythology and folklore, the fox spirit takes variant form with a different meanings, powers, characteristics, and shapes. In ancient Chinese mythology, there is a ferocious horned lion-like beast called Nian. For most of the year, this Nian was not an issue for ancient villagers, as it lived deep below the sea. However, every New Year's Eve, Nian would arise from the deep and terrorize human living in every village. Head and Horseface are two guardians, or types of guardians of the underworld in Chinese mythology. As indicated by their names, both have the bodies of men, but Ox Head has the head of an ox, while Horseface has a face of a horse. Pisho, also known as Piyao, is a mythical animal from Chinese culture. The creature resembles a large, abstract, but powerful lion creature. It has a head and wings of a dragon. Sometimes they even have a horn. The Pisho is a symbol of wealth, good fortune, and protection. Tao Tai, a mythical gargoyle-like figure, often found in ancient bronze vessels, representing greed. It is said to be a fifth son of dragon, and has such appetite that even eats its head. Xiao is a mythological creature described as resembling either an ape or a bird. Xi, a mythical creature of Chinese origin found throughout Sino-Siberic legends. It resembles an ox or goat with thick dark fur covering its body, bright eyes, and single long horn on its forehead. It has a great intellect and understands human speech. The Zaisi possesses the innate ability to distinguish right from wrong, and when it finds corrupt officials, it will ram them with horn and devour them. It is known as a symbol of justice. Xing Chan is a headless giant. He was decapitated by Yellow Emperor as a punishment for challenging him. Because he has no head, his face is in his torso. He wanders around fields and roads, and is often depicted carrying a shield and an axe, and doing a fierce war dance.
Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the period from March 21 to April 21. Each representation as a ram is identified with the Egyptian god Ammon, and Greek mythology with the ram with a golden fleece on the back, of which Phrixus, the son of King Atamas, safely fled Thessaly to Colchis, where he sacrificed the ram to Zeus, who placed it in the heavens as the constellation. The ram's golden fleece was recovered by Jason leader of the Argonauts. Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the portion of the year from April 20 to May 20. Its representation as a bull is related to Greek myth of Zeus, who assumed the form of a bull to abduct Europa. Gemini is the third sign of zodiac, considered as governing the period from May 21 to June 21. It is represented by a set of twins, or in Egyptian astrology by a pair of peacocks. In addition to their identification as Castor and Pollux, the twins have also been related to other celebrated pairs such as the younger and older Horus, or Romulus and Remus. Cancer is the fourth sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the period from June 22 to July 22. Its representation as a crab is related to the crab in Greek mythology that pinched Heracles while he was fighting the Lernaean Hydra, crushed by Heracles' enemy Hera by being placed in the heavens. Leo is the fifth sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the period from July 23 to August 22. Its representation as a lion is usually linked with the Nemean lion, slain by Heracles as part of the 12 labors he was forced to do as penance for killing his wife and children. Virgo is the sixth sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the period from August 23 to September 22. It is represented by a young maiden carrying a sheaf of wheat. She is variously identified as a fertility goddess or the harvest maiden. Libra is the seventh sign of zodiac, considered as governing the period from September 22 to October 23. It is represented by a woman, sometimes identified with Astraea, the Roman goddess of justice, holding a balance scale or by balance alone. Scorpio is the eighth sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the period from October 24 to November 21. Its representation as a scorpion is related to the Greek legend of the scorpion that stung Orion to death, said to be why Orion sets as Scorpius rises in the sky. Sagittarius is the ninth sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the period from November 22 to December 21. It is represented either by a centaur shooting a bow and arrow or by an arrow drawn across a bow. The identification of Sagittarius as the mounted archer was made by the Babylonians as early as the 11th century BCE. Capricorn is the 10th sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the period from December 22 to January 19. One explanation of the fishtail with which the goat is often represented is found in the Greek myth of Pan, who, to avoid the monster Typhon, jumped into the water just as he was changing into animal shape. The half of above water assumed the shape of a goat, while the lower half, the tail, assumed the shape of a fish. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, considered as governing the period from January 20 to February 18. Its representation as a man pouring a stream of water out of a jug came about, it has been suggested, because in ancient times the rising of Aquarius coincided in the Middle East with a period of floods and rain.